We are at number 14 in the WrestleMania top 15 WrestleMania matches. In my opinion, these are my personal picks, my favorites, my top 15 favorite WrestleMania matches, and we're at number 14. Last time we dove into Shane McMahon versus Vince McMahon in the Street Fight WrestleMania 17. 9 years later, we go to WrestleMania 26. Now, a lot of people will be assuming that I'm probably talking about Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker. Now, if you watched my WrestleMania review for that, you know that I think that's one of the most overrated matches. So you're probably thinking, well, is it Money in the Bank? No. So you're probably confused. So what exactly on WrestleMania 26 was so great that made it to your 15 list? Well, number 14 is a match that nobody really talks about. It's a match that gets really overlooked. And it's one of the most underrated matches in WrestleMania history. And it was easily the match of the night in my book. That match is Edge challenging Chris Jericho for the World Heavyweight Championship. That is this match, kind of a little backstory. So, back in 2009, Chris Jericho and Edge formed a tag team, won the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. They held them for, I think, a month. And unfortunately, Edge got injured. And instead of forfeiting the belts, they had Chris Jericho pick his own partner. And that partner was The Big Show. And they did Jericho, that whole tag team there. And Edge was scheduled to be missing action for at least 9 months to maybe even a year. He was gone for a while. And during this time, Jericho lost the Tag Team Championships to DX. And entered the Royal Rumble in 2010. It looked like he was going to win. Until number 29 came out. And out came the return Edge. To one of the biggest pops you'll hear. Edge returned. He eliminated his old tag team partner Jericho, eliminated John Cena from the match to win the Royal Rumble. So he would get to choose his challenger. Meanwhile, in the Elimination Chamber next month, we had Undertaker defending the World Heavyweight Championship against Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio, R-Truth, CM Punk, and John Morrison. Came down to Taker and Jericho, and everybody was assuming, well, it's going to be Taker. Taker's going to retain the World Heavyweight Championship, but no. Shawn Michaels got involved, he cost Undertaker the match, and Jericho walked out the new World Heavyweight Champion. That set up the Taker and Shawn Michaels match 2 at WrestleMania 26. And Jericho, the new World Heavyweight Champion, winning his 6th World Championship in WWE. On SmackDown, he announced he was going to WrestleMania. Then Edge came out and said, "You're right, you are going to WrestleMania. But you're going to WrestleMania against me." And so, I'll admit this, the story for this match, at least the promo package was very weak. All you had Edge do was just shout spear, just spear Jericho over and again. I'll admit that got really repetitive. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. That got really repetitive. But you do the match. And Jericho and Edge have worked together in the past, so this is not like the first time these two have faced each other, but this is the first time these two have faced each other at WrestleMania, on the biggest stage of all. And I think one of the reasons why this match gets overshadowed is because of the Shawn Michaels Undertaker match. Some people would consider that one of the greatest matches of all time. I think it's one of the most overrated, but that's just my personal opinion. Some people probably talk about John Cena and Batista more, because they also started their feud with Hollywood heel Batista. So we had that. We also had, I think it was Triple H and Sheamus on that show. And then we had the Bret Hart, Vince McMahon, which that match sucked. We all talk about that. But Jericho and Edge, 2 two of the best workers in that company fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship. And what makes this kind of sad is that the majority of the match, the people didn't care. The fans didn't really care a whole lot. But the psychology is great. You had Jericho trying to work the arms and the legs of Edge, mainly the leg because of the injury that he suffered and he needed surgery for. Edge trying to hit that spear. Just a lot of counter wrestling. This was a basic, heated rivalry, wrestling match. That's basically what this was. But it was really good for these two. You know, Edge and Jericho were not in their physical prime. That they were in their, mid-30s, I think. I think Edge is, Edge was his late 30s, and Jericho, I think, was his mid-30s. So these two are not in their prime, but for what they did, for the time they were given, they had a great match. In my opinion, match of the night. At the end of it, you had Jericho hit Codebreaker. Well, actually, at one point, he actually hit when the referee was down, Jericho hit Edge with a tile bell, went for a cover, and almost won. We thought Edge was going to win, and everybody in their mind was thinking Edge was going to win this match and walk out the new World Heavyweight Champion. Codebreaker later, and Jericho retains the World Heavyweight Championship. That was shocking. And Jericho retaining the Heavyweight Championship, I don't think anybody really expected that. But he did. After the match, Edge got back. He speared Jericho through the barricade off the announce table, which was pretty cool. That's the night after SmackDown. SmackDown after Mania, that's when Jack Swagger cashed in Money in the Bank on Jericho to walk out the new World Heavyweight Champion. And then Edge and Jericho had a rematch, and an equally great match, maybe even better, in the Steel Cage match at Extreme Rules later that year. Pay-per-view sucked, but that match, Jericho and Edge inside Steel Cage at Extreme Rules 2010, was actually great. But this match gets really overlooked. This match here, WrestleMania 26, gets very overlooked. And like I said, I think the biggest problem is because you had Shawn Taker too. After their WrestleMania 25 match, when they announced that this match was happening at WrestleMania 26, everybody was losing their mind. That was the match there. It was basically almost like a one-match show. And that's why a lot of people kind of dismiss WrestleMania 26 is because that's pretty much the only match that people cared about. But meanwhile, you had this match. And it was great. It wasn't a bunch of kickouts. It wasn't a bunch of high-flying maneuvers. It wasn't like a bunch of high-risk moves. It was what you call an old-school wrestling match. But again, these two, Edge and Jericho, had great chemistry. This is not the first time they've wrestled against each other. They've wrestled countless times, so they have that great psychology. There's a story behind it. Like I said, the only really down thing about this whole feud was the whole spear thing. I'm just going to say the word spear and spear. I'm going to hit you this with spear. That got really repetitive and old quick. But I say Jericho and Edge, it's a very underrated match. I highly recommend you go back and give it a second watch. Because in my opinion, it was match of the night. All of you are going to say Shawn Taker 2 at WrestleMania 26 was by far the better match. And you know what? That's fine. You can have that match. But in my opinion, this is the best match on the entire show. That is a match I love to watch. Again, this is a personal opinion. It's not factual. Like I said, this is just my own personal list of my favorite matches. So not everybody's going to agree with everything on this list. Like I said, I don't even have a lot of the old school matches on this list. Like Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior, Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man. So unfortunately, I don't have some of those matches on here. But, like I said, it was just a very underrated match. I think people need to go back and rewatch this match. Because, yes, it's a little bit slower. But it's like a roller coaster. It starts off slow and then it picks up. You want to see a great wrestling match? I highly recommend you watch this. But guess what? This is not the only great wrestling match you'll see Jericho in. Minor spoiler, there is another Mania match that's going to be on this list later on. That involved Jericho, another great wrestling match with somebody else. Some of you might already guess what that match is, but we'll see. Like I said, this was a great match. Very underrated. I highly recommend you go check it out.